Hey there, how's it going? The third annual VimJam is in the books and you have all made some incredible games. From September 9th through the 19th, over 900 people joined and created 200 games for the jam. The week after the jam, I streamed playing games for 5 days straight and was able to play 97 of them. And once the week of community voting ended, I played the top 50 games as well to bring you some of my favorite games from the jam. This year, the jam focus was multi-use, and the theme was Turn Up the Heat. Participants were free to interpret both however they choose, with the sole purpose being to encourage everyone to really think about the mechanics and theming they were going to be using in their games. And I have to say, we got some really cool experiences out of it. Real fast, before we jump into the games, I want to thank Retro Indie Josh and 8bits to Infinity for teaming up with me again this year for the jam. 8bits to Infinity is the jam community that I started with, and their mission says it all. They're a community of game developers built on 4 pillars: respect, inclusion, self-improvement, and experimentation, with the mission to improve the craft and artistry of game development by hosting game jams focused on honest feedback and iterative improvements. Basically, have fun and improve by making small games and giving and receiving feedback. 8bits to Infinity runs a jam every other month, and thank you again for partnering up with me once again to run this one. Seriously, I just do the creative side and they handle the rest. Make sure to give them some love for another amazing jam. Now, without further ado, on to what you're here for. This video will showcase some of my favorite games from the jam, as well as the winners voted on by the jam participants themselves. If you like anything you see, the name of the game will be in the bottom corner of the screen, and there's a link to the jam submission page in the description. Let's jump in with the game that took first place in the community vote. The Devil Wears Trident by Marcus himself. This game is awesome. You play as a devil that needs to get the humans into the fire, but as humans usually do, they need a little bit of prodding. Literally. Poking the human will cause them to jump, allowing us to make them navigate the level. When enough humans are in the lava, the room changes color and you're able to move on to the next. The game gets really clever when you unlock 2 more tridents that you can use as stops or bounce pads. This game is a great combination of puzzle and platformer, and the multi-use focus really shines through in the different ways the tridents are used to maneuver the humans. The art is absolutely fantastic, being adorably hilarious as you run around scaring and poking your prey. Everything fits together perfectly and it deserves its spot as the community choice winner. I had 2 games in mind for the judge's choice, and this was definitely one of them. And it only wasn't chosen because it was already number 1 in the community vote. And because I just mentioned it, let's talk about the game that takes the judge's choice title. In Balmy Pass by Nada Bladam, you need to move 3 waves of villagers over a chasm filled with lava. Along the left, there's a timer, which is the lava buildup, that will close off the pass to the villagers if you can't get them across quickly enough. You control the moving platforms the insane engineers dreamed up as the best method of transporting villagers. It's equipped with a launching mechanism to fling the villagers into the air to evade danger or move them to another location. Each level, the path becomes crazier and crazier, and the timing becomes more and more precise. While the art may not be the most detailed, it has a retro lemming-style look and the humor to go along with it. The villagers flying off into the background is a great touch and adds so much more to the experience. I really enjoyed the mechanic of manipulating the AI villagers to move them where you need them to go. It's simple yet difficult, easy to understand, and the complexity is introduced gradually through each level in a great progression of level design. I also really appreciate the optional challenge of trying to save all the villagers instead of just the number required to finish the level. It definitely increases the difficulty. With a theme like Turn Up the Heat, a common mechanic was to keep a flame lit in some way. This stick I found by Cactus is a great example of this and took second in the community vote. This top-down survival game links your health with the strength of your campfire. You need to venture out, collecting resources and battling monsters until it's late enough to go to sleep. Every day, the world becomes more and more dangerous as new creatures appear to attack you. You're armed with a magic stick that can be used as an axe, projectile weapon, sword, and even a compass that points back to your fire. Defeating enemy drops experience, and when the bar is full, you can upgrade one of the stick abilities. The game is all about survival and how many days you can stay alive as more and more enemies attack you each time. We had 2 games tie for the 3rd place in the community vote. First up is Build Break Go by Mighty Jor and Treblig Punisher, which is a very ambitious idea for a game jam project. It's a Mario Maker style level editor. You have a platform character that can jump and shoot. Everything can be destroyed, including your only path. Once your level is built and complete, you're given a long stream to copy and paste into a message. Now anyone else can take that message, copy and paste it into their game, and play your level. My only wish is that the game came with a few pre-made levels built in, But Mighty Jor as well as others have levels posted on the itch page that are really easy to start playing. And the other cool feature is that destroying blocks in community levels will add them into your inventory to be used in your future levels, which is a really fun way to do the multi-use focus. Tied with Build Break Go is Soul Vanguard by Jescapade. Soul Vanguard is a top-down shooter where you need to defend and energize a sun. Enemy aliens will attack the sun, stealing its heat, as well as attacking you directly. You're able to shoot, dash, and heal, but they all use some of your valuable energy supply. Asteroids fly through the level, leaving energy crystals that can be collected to refuel. Temporary upgrades can also be collected and are a big help as the difficulty ramps up. The gameplay has a great feel to it, and the balance of protecting the sun, collecting energy, defending yourself, and heating up the sun is super engaging and fun. The game has a great aesthetic with a very clear and cohesive design as well. From here on out in the video, these are just more of my favorites from the jam in no particular order. Burnwood by Pepperboy, Jamal Creates, Come Pestu, and Stain Tokten is a puzzle game using a pixel physics system reminiscent of the game Noita. At the start of the level, you can draw in platforms made of wood. Then you have the ability to throw a bomb and set all connected wood on fire. In each level, you need to find the best way to place your platform and drop the sand so you can make it up to the ledge. Be careful not to trap yourself though, or you really won't make it. The game has a great overall feel and style, and the presentation is excellent. The puzzles are also well designed and fun to explore different solutions. The simulated gravity on the sand is such a great effect, and paired with the puzzle platformer genre is a really neat combination. Hot Cross Guns by Cornboy is a first-person bread shooter, where you battle waves of hungry ducks that seem to have a grudge against you. To defend yourself, you have to grab some flour from the bin, turn it into dough at the well, form the type of weapon you desire, and bake it in the oven. When it's ready, you'll be able to shoot bullets based on its type. The waves pick up quickly, and with only 3 hearts, you can't make too many mistakes. However, your gun can be eaten for health, because we all know carbs are good for you. You're then left weaponless, and you need to go through the process of baking a new one before you're overrun by ducks. The waves spawn quickly, so the best strategy I found was to leave one duck alive at the end and bake a gun real fast while it chases you. The flat sprite style in a 3D environment is one that I've always really liked. All the visuals I feel are really well done and super cute, and if you survive long enough, you get to face the big duck. It's a super clever and cute game with a fun risk-reward mechanic for health. I'm a sucker for card games, and Sacrifice by Michael Parrish is right up my alley. You're in a fight with the devil, and you need to use your supporters as sacrifices for either their abilities or them to attack your enemy. Each hand, you can right-click on a card to either get its effect, or you can left-click to deal the damage shown at the bottom of the card. It's a very simple mechanic with only a handful of different cards, but I could seriously see myself getting lost in a game like this. The sacrifice effect is pretty hilarious, and the UI is minimal but tells you everything you need to know, including all ongoing card effects for both you and your opponent. Unlike in a lot of these types of games where the enemies do standard telegraphed actions, the devil has the same deck as you and will use it in a similar way, which gives a feeling of playing a more traditional TCG. This game has a great concept that I could see being very versatile if expanded. Outlive by Ginger Ninjarish is a 1-bit monster survival game. Every day you need to go out and scavenge for supplies to keep your family and shelter protected. Chop wood for heat and defense while using your shotgun to eliminate creatures and open locked chests. At the end of the day, you get a Papers, Please style update on your family and are allowed to allocate extra gatherings to things like home protection. As you explore, you can find different things to unlock different areas and buildings. At some point, you're given a choice to allow more survivors in and see what happens. Explore the town and survive until the end. The game has an amazing retro feel and is a lot of fun to explore and optimize even over multiple playthroughs. Can you keep your whole family alive to the end? I never could, but maybe you can. Jerry Broke the Fourth Wall by Lanky387 is a really interesting take on the QuickTime mechanic. In the game, Jerry had broken the fourth wall by talking to you, and anti-Jerry forces have been sent to remove them. You must help Jerry by clicking the action button when critical points are reached. But unlike a normal QuickTime event where you just need to push a specific button, here you need to click the actual button wherever it appears on the screen. The timing gets really tight at points, and on Jerry difficulty you need to crank up the DPI like crazy. The game is dripping with juice, and quick respawns after death keep you engaged to make it past the next obstacle. Make it to the end and shatter the fourth wall. Flamethrowers were a common idea with a theme like Turn Up the Heat. And Conflagrator by Helper Wesley used one in a great way. It's a top-down wave-based shooter where everything revolves around biofuel. In the top left, you see the amount of biofuel that represents your health. When your flamethrower is low, you can refuel it, but you lose a health. On top of that, at the end of each wave, you can shop for upgrades by spending your biofuel as currency. You need to destroy the enemy hordes to collect more, but they don't always drop biofuel. Stay alive and increase power until the horde finally overtakes you. The game has a great style and wonderful lighting effects. It feels creepy and scary, especially as you increase in wave count. There's also an online leaderboard, which I think I may have been on for a hot second right after the jam ended, but will never come close to again. Frozen Health by Spy Puppet has a really unique take for multi-use. In the game, you need to collect logs to add to a furnace, but to travel the terrain you are able to pick up and place your health bar and use it as a platform. But be careful, when your health is exposed to the elements, it will begin to freeze and need to be picked back up quickly or it will break. If you have no health bars left or you fall into a pit, you lose and need to try again. And being hit by an enemy will mean that you have one less platform to use. I really like the placing your own platform mechanic a lot, and the combination with it being your health and only having a set amount of time I think is a great concept. Not all the logs on each level are needed to complete it, so there's an extra challenge to collect everything if you'd like a little bit more difficulty. I really enjoyed this and would love to see what other challenges could be created using this mechanic. Okay, one more card game. Burning Down the Cards by Masked Seaboy is a deck builder roguelike. Every card has a chili cost that you pay for with a thermometer on the left. Unlike usual deck builder games, playing a card does not discard it. If you can afford it, you can actually play the card again, but it will be burnt up and no longer usable in this match. At the start of the game, you're given a random buff item, so each playthrough is a little different. Your health does not restore between rounds, and you get to select a card to add to your deck after each encounter. A really fun take on a deck builder like Slay the Spire, but the ability to use your cards in additional time adds an interesting level of decisions. You can strategically use cards twice to remove them from your deck to thin it out and make future draws better. There is a lack of tips and reminder text, which would be great, but overall the game is really enjoyable, and I found myself playing several rounds to see different strategies. In Switzy by Kem Kanyu, you play as a Swiss Army knife body that got stuck in the assembly line and needs to escape. Along the way, you need to finish assembling yourself to use the abilities to cause havoc in the facility. The knife allows you to cut through elements. The hook can grab and pull levers to activate level elements. And the corkscrew allows you to pull elements out for a different kind of activation. When the attachments are out, they can be rotated left and right to best fit the task you're trying to do. The game is super cute, and the puzzles are fun and not too difficult. In Hot Chicken by Cactus, you need to survive as long as possible. When the timer at the top of the screen hits 0, you lose. But you can add time by sacrificing a chicken in the lava pit. However, every time you do, a number of enemies will be spawned into the level. To defeat them, you need to pick up things like the rocks in the level and throw them at them. Balancing how many enemies are on screen while keeping an eye on the timer gets tough quick. The game is a ton of fun with a lot of action happening at all times. You can even throw the sacrificing altar at the enemies if you want. But now when you're running out of time, you gotta make sure you throw the chicken where the sacrificing altar is. I guess the chaos is just your punishment for burning the helpless chickens to extend your life, you monster. Another mechanic that popped up a few times is Shoot to Move, and Purple Rain by Trevelyan and Althazar had a really fun take on it. You need to charge the teleporters in the center of the level by staying within a certain radius around them. This is made more difficult by the waves of enemies that begin to spawn. Destroying enemies will give you money, which can be spent to open chests littered around the level. Each one will give different power-ups and abilities. Power-ups can also be dropped by enemies. The game has a great variety of enemies as well as several boss monsters that are terrifying the first time they spawn. It gets to be an absolutely hectic battle, but it's a lot of fun. Stacking power-ups to gain strength and be able to hold your ground in the teleporter radius, then beating a hasty retreat to power up even more and come back to fight again. And finally, we have two games in a genre that you tend not to see in game jams, but they both did something unique that I wanted to touch on. The genre has many names: idle game, clicker game, incremental game, whatever you want to call it. Praise the Firelord by Sism is what you would think of as a more traditional cookie clicker style game. However, because this is a game jam and there is an ending, in order to let more people see the game, there's a cheat bar at the bottom that lets you change the speed of the in-game timer from 1x to 10x and even 100x. Playing through the game at 100 times the speed lets you get through the game much quicker, and you get to see all the cool demons you get to start controlling. The story is that you're a demon trapped in a frozen world, and you need to recruit more minion demons to collect resources to make your fire bigger. The game has a great style and nice visuals to go along with the upgrades you buy. I just really appreciated the addition of the cheat bar to allow people to actually finish the game in a reasonable amount of time for a game jam. The other clicker game that did something interesting was Idle Intentions: Trial of the Ninja Kings by White Vault. This is probably the most active clicker game I've ever played. You start by clicking to attack the boss, earning money when dealing damage. As you earn more gold, you unlock timed rewards like you would see in Adventure Capitalist. For example, clicking the grandma will start a 5-second timer, and after that runs out, you get 5 gold. Then you can do it again. You can also buy reinforcement characters that will attack the boss for you, earning you money without having to click, but they do take damage each hit and will eventually need to be replaced. Or you can take that warrior and turn it into a manager for your timed rewards. Placing the character in the reward slot will automatically trigger the timer whenever needed. The goal of the game is to deal enough damage to each of the 6 bosses to win. The game has a really fun balance of managing upgrades, keeping warriors in play, and using excess money on the missiles, which just deal damage but have no monetary reward for you. The art and style is absolutely fantastic and just has a great feel to it overall. I thought this was a very different take on a clicker game, and I really enjoyed it. Alright, those are some of my favorite games from VimJam3. Once again, I can't thank everyone enough that participated and came to hang out during the gameplay streams. I had such a fun time playing through as many as I could, and I'm so impressed by the work that was submitted. Check out these games as well as so many more. The link to the submission page is in the description below. That will wrap it up for this year's VimJam, and we'll do it again next year. I hope you enjoyed checking out all these awesome games as much as I did. Please remember to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more game dev content. I'm also live pretty much every Saturday and Sunday over at twitch.tv/vimlark if you feel like saying hey. I'd like to thank my awesome patrons for their continued support, especially my video producer and above tier patrons like Anami Mouse, Baron Earth, CVMS, Ed Mark Games, Ermelburn, Grim Mountain Games, Heather Nully, Nightfall, Michael Tabata, Motzi Makes, Nazar Salim, Pixelator Gadsy, Salty Pretzel, Sean Clapper, Soapy Gnome, Some Dude, Straight Up Gruntled, Warren Steven Rose, and Ya Gerbs. You're all awesome people, and I cannot thank you enough for all the continued support. And a final huge thank you to 8bits to Infinity for another awesome jam this year. I hope you all have a great day or evening wherever you are. Stay safe and be good to each other, and I'll talk with you next time. Have a good one. Later.